Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
Thanks for hanging with us here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. A lot of folks write in about some things they've seen before on the show. We're going to pull this one out from the archives and think you'll love it. Shock Therapy is the premier destination for off-road suspension tuning, and you're going to find out why. Now, Justin Smith started this company about a decade ago. And Justin, for the folks that may not know Shock Therapy, give an overview of what you guys do here.
You know, what we do is within the UTV and off-road industry, we pretty much make UTVs ride better, or for your particular needs. If you're a racer and you need to go fast, we can dial that in. If you're kind of a cruiser in the mountains, we can do that as well. So every time we touch one, we kind of make it exactly what that person wants.
And what was that evolution like? You know, word of mouth and everything. Where'd this all start? You're in a massive facility here.
As a matter of fact, it was in my 3-car garage and grew up very slowly over time. But when that started with just a small amount of people and us doing it ourselves, we really were able to touch every single customer perfectly. And we learned a lot about what they wanted. We were able to put that in all of our products today.
We see here in your shop, folks have brought their vehicles in for you to do the suspension on them. Now, folks are able to do that at your facility here and in North Carolina. What about folks that can't bring their vehicle in?
You know, we have a mail-in program that we call Shock in a Box. And everywhere in the United States and other countries, we get shocks in here to do the tuning for them. Australia, South Africa, and other countries that you may not even realize that UTVs are in, we get shocks from. But we're able to dial that in by having an appointment system. Every car you see in here and every shock that is mailed to us is scheduled for a specific day. So that customer knows that if their appointment is on the 3rd, they have their vehicle to us on the 2nd, it's done and it leaves on the 3rd. If it's mailed into us, it's done and it mails out on the 3rd. So shock internals, modifications, rebuilds, spring kits. We can do all the installation of rack and pinion, tie rod systems, radius rods, and other components. We make a lot of things to allow these vehicles to go faster than stock.
The secret is in the parts you use here. Now, first of all, let's talk about the OE shocks and the OE suspension that's coming from the manufacturer. They're good, but why don't they always work when you start getting more and more into off-roading?
The OEMs have to tune for the masses. Well, the fact is the masses aren't exactly all of us. We want to play with this stuff exactly the way we want it done. So we're able to tune UTVs to do the specific job for each individual's needs. If you start adding weight or accessories to these, they sit too low and don't ride very well. Well, we fix that with spring kits. And if you drive a little bit too hard or harder than the UTVs are designed to be used, we can fix that too and allow you to do what you need with your car.
And you've told me as you start to go faster and faster, things start to break in succession there.
Exactly. The succession of breakage and components follows the speed at which you're going to drive. And we are enthusiasts just like our customers are. So we've driven these speeds and seen what the first things are to break, and we manufacture a component to fix that. After you fix that part, you might find that the next thing to go is short down the line, and we make that component as well. You can see kind of a list of components on this bench right in front of us.
And these are the same parts you can find on the Mud Monster behind us, and also really this closer to stock vehicle as well. Different parts for different folks here.
Yes, a lot of people think that we just tune for race cars because the racers are the ones that typically break everything, but that's absolutely, couldn't be farther from the truth. We tune for the guy that drives super slow, retired on the weekend, and just does trail riding and wants to be relaxed and comfortable. Well, we also tune for things like this Mud Monster behind us that's completely on the other side of the spectrum that most people are never going to do. But where most of our components live is in that happy space between the two, where people need a little bit more out of their vehicle, and we make the parts to do that.
Let's talk about some of the components on this monstrosity back here, starting with the sway bar here. That's something we're going to find on there. How is that an upgrade from what might be stock on the UTV?
Factory UTVs typically have a lot of body roll, and a lot of people don't like that feeling when they enter into a corner, and sway bars typically fix that. Stops a lot of the body roll that you get when you enter a corner pretty quick. So sway bars can give a feeling of stability, safety, corner speeds you typically will go up, but sway bars aren't the answer to everything. Fast desert driving might be a home run for sway bars, but on the East Coast with trail riding and slower speeds, independence might be the way to go. So no sway bar or disconnected sway bars for certain terrain in use, and stiffer sway bars and adjustability for others.
And after we're talking sway bar, what's another consideration here? You have the rack and pinion. How is this more beefy than what I might find on a stock UTV?
So usually the first accessory people put on their UTV is a set of wheels and tires. they more than likely weigh more than the factory system. And that extra weight puts a lot of stress on the steering and other suspension components. Factory rack and pinions tend to wear out pretty quick, and the last thing you want is a little slop in the steering. So we build completely in-house, billet and high quality components inside of our rack and pinions. Rack and pinion systems typically that we make don't wear out over time and give a lot more stability to the vehicle as you start adding weight to it. Other things that we find as you kind of go through that progression of components that you had already mentioned, steering and tie rod systems. We've got tie rods saying here as well, and all of our tie rod kits are adjustable so that you can fix the geometry issues that you might run into with a list of the aftermarket accessories. Fixed bump steer, which bump steer is a change in toe and comes back into the steering as feedback that most people don't want. And our tie rod kits fix that. Extension clump is very, very common with UTVs, and a limit strap kit that we offer cures all of that so you don't wear out parts inside the shock as well. Other things that we have besides sway bars, sway bar links, are electronic shock upgrades. We've got a system called IQS, or Intelligent Quick Switch, which allows you to take a manually adjusted and tuned shock externally and make that electronic, where you can tune it on the fly on the dash so you can run soft and plush when you're going at slow speeds, or you can turn it up if you want to hit that jump or that G out a little bit too hard.
All kinds of parts and accessories, things that are going to make your ride a whole lot nicer and maybe a whole lot faster if that's what you're looking for. Shock therapy is the place to go. And we've got a whole lot more. Motorhead Garage, presented by Dragonfire Tools, next.